Can one of them find a bit of sunshine and illuminate the remainder of their season? It is Dundee United against Hibernian. It's live here on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland, 810 medium wave, 92 to 95 FM, online on digital at BBC Sound. So many ways to listen to Michael Stewart, Stephen Thompson and Liam McLeod.
High noon on Tayside, United against Hibs. Third meeting between them this season. The hosts have won the first of those, which was here, as is BH with the only goal. That came just a few days after United had put 4 unanswered goals past Aberdeen. And then there was a 2-2 thriller in Edinburgh. Kevin Nisbet scoring a late equaliser in January. He'd previously cancelled out an early Middleton goal before Hearts restored the United lead, though they would be denied all 3 points in stoppage time. Just about ready to go here. Hibs will kick off. They're going to shoot from left to right down the hill towards the Eddie Thompson stand in their change colours, the all lime green with the black and white flashes. United in the tangerine shirts, black shorts, tangerine socks with the black tops will shoot towards the shed. And the referee is David Monroe. He's just about ready to get this underway. United 5 points adrift at the bottom thanks to Ross County's win at St Johnstone yesterday, as Joe Newell passes it back, and it's a long ball forward by Jago out to that far side, and picked up by Chabraya, and now collected on this near side by Egan Riley. It's flicked it by Cadden to McCurdy, wide on this right hand side. He's a bit level at the edge of the centre circle. Dink ball forward for Campbell, flicks it with the heel back towards the 18-yard line, looking for Nisbet. Mulgrew gets there first. It's now with McMahon, who turns and boots it clear, and that's out of play as it bounces off Jago on this near side for a throw-in to Dundee United. It looks as though Michael Hibs going with the back four today.
Yeah, and so Dundee United, both sides going with the back four. But, obviously a number of changes for the Hibs side, and Chris Cadden right back, Fish and Egan Riley as centre halves, and Chabraya at left back.
Yeah, and it's Egan Riley in possession here, just about midway inside his own half. Yeah, that back four for Dundee United sees Aziz Baic push forward, Freeman and McMahon as the full-backs. As Fish goes long, big switch out towards Ewan on the far side. He's back from suspension after his red card at Celtic Park, as he loses it over there. And then one back by Cadden in the centre circle brilliantly. Now Joe Newell can drive forward and he slips it to McCurdy. He's got some space, it's useful. Right hand side of the box, across it comes! And somehow Kevin Nisbet's put it wide. It's come off the defender and behind for a Hibs corner, but what a chance for Kevin Nisbet.
I thought it was a certain goal. I'm just waiting for the net to bulge. McCurdy does well, he gets the strike, it goes through McMahon's legs.
Birigiti's got something on it.
He must have. I don't think it was just the defender, I think it was the goalkeeper's managed to get a flick past the post.
Oh, it's a huge opportunity for Nisbet inside the opening couple of minutes. Hibs have a corner right in front of the tunnel down on this near side to be taken by Newell. Arms in the air, looking for a teammate in the middle from the set play, and it comes, and he is able to find someone, Egan Riley, at the back end of the 6-yard box, but he heads it well over the crossbar. Goalless in the opening couple of minutes, but Stephen, it's been a really positive start by the visitors.
It certainly has been, and it was great play initially from Joe Newell, driving through the heart of the midfield, finds McCurdy, who kind of drags his shot. It's going to go past the post, but then it lands at Nisbet's feet, only 2 feet out of the goal, and it was baffling. I'm like Mikey, I don't know how it didn't go in. It must have kind of clipped off the edge of Birigiti.
It's just bounced off his leg apparently and gone behind for the corner.
I was just thinking Tom must have awfully big feet if he thinks that was 2 feet out the goal.
What did you a metre then?
It's a big chance anyway though, isn't it? When you would normally expect Nisbet to be popping that one home. Anyway, Dundee United get away with one in the opening couple of minutes. It's Freeman with the long ball forward. Stephen Fletcher, who skippers the Terrors this afternoon. Ryan Edwards on the bench. Long ball, Hibs cleared. Comes off Mulgrew's chest. McGrath is bundled to the ground by Jago inside the centre circle. Free kick goes United's way. The Hibs fans, you can hear them there round about us here. We're above them in the main stand. The Fair Play and Jerry Kerr stands on this near side. Dug outside, Jim Goodwin standing arms folded down below us, still searching for his first win as United manager. He feels some of their performances have deserved all 3 points. Lee Johnson to his left as United take the free kick. Fletcher flicks on, and it's picked up wide on that right-hand side by Fotheringham, and it's gone over the line and out for a Hibs throw-in, which Chabraya will take. One of the alterations made by Lee Johnson from the side, beaten 3-1 by Motherwell last weekend. Bitterly disappointing afternoon it was, off the back of the defeats to Rangers and Celtic. And I think it's that one that will stick in the necks of the Hibs fans, Mikey, at home. They would expect to do better, and actually their form at Easter Road hasn't been good enough this season.
Yeah, I mean, Motherwell thoroughly deserved their victory last week. And you know, it's that one that obviously puts a real slant on the View recent form.
Good move, McCurdy is, but the edge of the box finds Cadden wide right. His cross blocked by McMahon. Not that he knew too much about it, it came flush off his face, and he puts it out for a Hibs throw-in down on this near side. 4.5 in, nothing each, as that's bowled back the way to Jeggle, but Hibs have begun the brighter. There is no question of that, as Campbell finds Cadden wide on the right, level with the 18-yard line, and it comes. Aina goes down onto his knees and clears with his chest there. It's an optimistic appeal from some Hibs fans for a penalty for handball, as McGrath is chopped to the ground by Newell, and that'll be a free kick to United. Just takes a little bit of heat out of the situation, because Hibs have come flying out of the traps here, and they really ought to be 1-0 up, and Kevin Nisbet should be sitting with his 10th goal of the season in the back pocket.
It was a really unorthodox clearance that from Aina. He was kind of down on his knees and it kind of skipped off his chest, but yeah, I don't think there was any question of a handball.
United 5 points adrift of Ross County, 6 adrift of Kilmarnock at the foot of the table, and they're a point worse off than their neighbours Dundee were at this point last season when they plummeted. As BH collects the left angle of the Hibs box, first real attacking chance for United here. The long cross ball comes in, too much on it. Fotheringham keeps it alive at the corner flag. Short ball to Ian Harkes, Fotheringham to Harkes again, and that goes over the line for a Hibs throw-in. So Harkes thinks it should have gone his way, as the sun creeps out from behind the clouds above here.
Thank goodness. Didn't dress appropriately.
It's not getting any on you. The stand at the back,
exactly,
the back of the stand, just still going to be in the shade.
Bring it up.
There is some corrugated plastic behind you. You might get a bit of greenhouse effect if it stays out. It's Hibs in possession. It is a cold day, but the conditions down there pretty good for the two sets of players. As Campbell holds off Sibbald's brilliant play by Josh Campbell. He's having a fine season, driving forwards Chabraya, but he's challenged from behind there by McGrath. Wins it back for United. Long ball forward, comes all the way through though to Egan Riley, who rolls it back to David Marshall, the veteran goalkeeper. Albeit as a relative youth when you compare him to his two former Scotland teammates, Alan McGregor and Craig Gordon, both beyond the 40 mark. As Marshall gets it back from Will Fish on loan from Manchester United, and it's picked up here by Egan Riley. Forward to Yuan, who's been such an important player for Hibs in the last few months. He really has grown in confidence when you compare some of his recent performances to what we saw at the start of the season. Long ball forward, McMahon clears, Cadden was in behind him, he had to make that one, Scott McMahon. Here's BH on the counter, the man who scored the winner when these two met in the autumn, gets his cross in, it's half away. McGrath collects inside the D with his back to goal, rolls it back to Sibbald, low out wide left for BH, he crosses in, Fletcher's header's brilliant, and the former Highby nets what could be a crucial goal for Dundee United as he celebrates in front of the George Fox stand on the far side, arms outstretched against the club who made him. It's a brilliant header from Fletcher, classic number 9 finish, classic Fletcher finish. Dundee United 1, Hibernian 0.
The ball in is absolutely superb from BH, but the header is of the highest quality. It's textbook, everything you would want from a striker, heading it back across the goalkeeper, down with real power on it. You get a right snap into it off of his neck. A fabulous goal.
That's a great goal for Dundee United, it really was. And it was it broke with real pace, real intent. They got plenty of bodies forward. The first ball that went in got cleared to the edge of the box, and it was McGrath that was up on it. He made sure that it wasn't getting cleared. Ball came back out to Sibbald, slipped it out to BH just to throw another ball into the box, and he picked out Fletcher perfectly. And as Tomo was saying there, that the header was the highest calibre, and it meant that David Marshall had absolutely no chance because there was such power in it. Back across him, in low into the corner, goalkeeper was never going to get anywhere near that.
It's how you would tell somebody to header the ball from across. It really is. It was textbook.
Fabulous finish. He's wearing the armband today as well as Fletcher. And he enjoyed that goal as well against the team or the club he left 14 years ago, which is incredible in itself. 14 years have passed since Stephen Fletcher wore the green and white of Hibs, who began the brighter, but they find themselves behind. And it's another head scratcher for Lee Johnson. Still plenty time to rectify the situation, though. That goal, which was Fletcher's 8th of the season, coming on the 8th minute. As Hibs pick up here with Jago, looking for an immediate response. Short ball, Campbell forward to the edge of the area for Nisbet, and then lashed away by McGrath just before Chebraya could get there. Egan Riley collects and goes all the way back to his goalkeeper. It's a test of Hibs' mettle, this one, Mikey, because at times this season they've failed that test.
Yeah, it is. And that's what I was saying before. This is such a big, important game because, you know, the 3 defeats leading into this one, the season can turn on this. The last part of it, they've got themselves back into contention for Europe, but they're coming into this one, and it can really be a pivotal result. If they manage to win, then that gets forgotten about and the chase for Europe starts again. But they lose it, and all of a sudden it feels as if that fragility comes back to the fore, and things are falling apart again.
There's Joe Newell just rolling it to his right. Fish forward to Cadden. First time low ball to McCurdy. Now attacking the United box. Right foot cross ball comes in, and Freeman decides to bundle it behind for the corner rather than take his chances with Marian Chebraya behind him. And Hibs have a corner. This is their second of the game. McCurdy going over there to the far side to take.
McCurdy's looked bright early on, another decent delivery into the box. I felt as though Freeman could have taken a touch, but in that situation, if he's not getting information, you're better safe than sorry. He's put it out for the corner.
In swinger with the right foot of McCurdy over on that far side. In between the Fox and Thompson stands. And he goes, right-footed. That's a brilliant delivery, and somehow a combination of Birighitti and a couple of defenders managed to get it away. That was a terrific cross from the corner by McCurdy. Really good quality. United get away with it. It's McGrath pumps it long, looking for Bate. She goes down, thinks he should get a free kick for that. David Monroe wags his finger in disagreement as it comes back to David Marshall.
I think the ref's got that one right. You know, Jago's got himself into a good defensive position, but equally, I'm still looking at Bage and I'm thinking to myself, he could have done more to, try and get beyond Jago. And if Jago continues to try to block it off, then he could have got a free kick, but he sort of gave up a little bit too easily there for me.
Here's Fletcher, the goal scorer, as it nicked off him by Newell, who goes back to Cadden. Now, United haven't been able to keep a clean sheet in the Premiership since their last win back at the start of January when they beat St Johnstone. If they can keep one today, they'll have all 3 precious points. Cadden, short ball to Newell. 1-0 United, clip ball by Newell, headed back by Campbell, who goes down. Claims he was fouled, I think, by Aina. He's got his arms outstretched. 12 in. And it remains 1-0 to United. Here's Freeman over on the far side, up the line for Fotheringham, and it bobbles behind between his feet and out for a Hibs throw-in over on the far side, which is taken quickly by Chebraya back to Egan Riley. And then he plays it along the deck into the centre circle for Will Fish, who finds Cadden on the near side. And back to Fish and back to his goalkeeper Marshall. Just taking his time over this, surveying the pitch ahead of him. Hibs playing down the hill, as I say, in this first half. Trapped brilliantly by Ewan from the long ball. He's at the edge of the penalty area. It's brilliant from Ellie Ewan. Turns it out to the right angle of the area for McCurdy. Shuffles, he crosses. Nisbet heads it back down towards Campbell. And a really important defensive intervention by Aina to get it away. And now United are heading away on the counter with Ian Harkes. Down the right, options on the other side of the pitch if he can find one. Takes his time, eventually angles it forward, looking for Aziz Bate, who's onto it inside the box, pulls it back across the 6-yard line. McGrath can't get there, and it will go out of play for a Hibs throw-in over there on the far side. Wonderful lightning counter-attack there by Dundee United, but they couldn't find that quality in the final third to go 2 up, and it stays United 1, Hibs 0.
Almost, as you said there, good, quick counter-attack. It all started from that man, Aina, who's just got a header in defensively there. The ball came into the box, he managed to get his toe on it. It was a good defensive clearance, and then up the other end, Fletcher nicked it around the corner. Hart's breaking.
What a pass it was from Hart.
Yeah, he did the right thing, just checked back and then out the other side to BH. But the problem was, I thought, I don't know about you, Tom, but he could have stretched to perhaps try to get the touch early, and he would have been getting a strike on goal.
Yeah.
Instead, it just drifted a little bit too wide, and there was nobody else in the box.
I was going to say that at that point in time, I think he should have taken a touch and tried to recirculate it.
Yuan for Hibs, crossing the box. Campbell's header back to Newell, who slips as he tries to shoot for goal, and it goes behind harmlessly for the goal kick to the home team, who lead this one by 1-0.
Yeah, he just tried to flash it across the face of goal, but in fact it was just McGrath that was in there, and he was never going to get to the cross. Just take a touch, look for support at the edge of the box, but another promising attack from Dundee United.
United made their worst start to a top-flight season since 2000. They haven't really recovered. I mentioned they're a point worse off than Dundee were at this point last season before they were automatically relegated. They're a couple worse off than Hamilton were the season before when they were automatically relegated.
I must have been partly to blame for that one in 2000, Liam.
Were you?
Well, I must have been.
Right enough. Here is Nisbet up against Mulgrew. He gets away from Mulgrew. He goes down, and it's a free kick to Hibernian. It's a couple of yards from the byline, just to the right of the box. And this is an opportunity, this one, for Hibernian.
I'm not sure that partly is an accurate description.
Holy. That was good play from Nisbet down this right-hand side. Charlie McGrew will be disappointed to get kind of tied up so easily by Nisbet and gave the foul away. A really dangerous situation here.
They went something like 20 games without a win that season under Alex Smith.
All right, okay.
It was a terrible period, but got out of trouble.
We did, that's the main thing, Liam, that's the main thing.
Was that after Tom got injured?
Got dropped. Free kick Hibs. United lead 1-0. What can the visitors do here? 16 minutes in just about. McCurdy, it's a low ball across. Flick for goal by Campbell, but blocked. I don't think it was on target, but could potentially have found a teammate. There's a few Hibs players with their arms outstretched, claiming for something. As the long ball finds Yuan, heads it down into the box. Naina gets there and smashes it clear down the pitch.
There's been a lot of kind of last gasp defending from Dundee United. Ayena's doing really well. 4 or 5 big clearances so far.
Here is Jego, it's just behind Campbell, but he's found Nisbet at the edge of the D. He's got his back to goal here. Mulgrew with the challenge. It's dogged defending by Charlie Mulgrew as Newell's tackle, and Sibbald just puts it straight to Fotheringham and goes back to Ayena. And he hits it forward, but he can't find a teammate. It's now with Cadden. Hibs have been the better team by and large in the opening 16.5 minutes, but they find themselves behind. As Chabraya rolls it out to the touchline for Yuan, level with the edge of the centre circle, infield to Newell, and he goes back to CJ Egan-Riley, who squares it to his central defensive partner Fish, and now it's with Cadden, and back with Will Fish here to Egan-Riley, who's on loan from Burnley, former England under-19 international. As Ewan collects wide on that far side, and back to Newell, sweeps it left to right of the centre circle for Fish, and now Egan-Riley. United holding their positions just now. It's being played in front of them at the moment. It's Egan-Riley again. Hibs trying to find a way through. They can't get over the halfway line right now, as that's played finally over the halfway line to McCurdy wide on the right. Now he's level with the 18-yard line. Infield for Cadden. Snapshot at goal. Blocked by Ayena again. Probably had more time than he thought there. BH hooks it over his head. And the clearance down this near side. Ball played in towards Campbell. It's bounced frustratingly away from him. And Jamie McGrath clears.
I've got to say, for me, both sides have been able to throw balls into the box far too easily. Looking down in front of us on the right-hand side, McCurdy's probably been able to put 3-4. There was Cadden there as well. Too easy. They need to, stop balls going into the box.
Craig Sibbald forward towards the goal scorer Fletcher. Good challenge, Egan-Riley. Up in the air, McMahon with a header forward into the Hibs halves. Good spell of possession this for Hibs. In fact, they've seen a lot more of the ball in this first half, at least that's how it seems.
Yeah, United are basically playing on the counter, looking for breakaways, but just how much more of the pressure can they absorb before Hibs find a breakthrough?
Hibs should have scored in the game. They've had over 70% of the possession so far. Kevin Nisbet really should have put them in front in the opening couple of minutes, made to pay for that when Fletcher did up the other end just 6 minutes later. And that's where this game stands right now, with Dundee United leading it by a goal to nil. We're almost on 19 minutes at Tannadice. Newell out wide left to the Chebraya, looks up at the box, a deep cross ball in, headed away by Scott McMahon. Cadden's header, but there was a little shove there on BH, and that results in a whistle from David Munro to give Dundee United the free kick just outside their own penalty area. But yeah, I mean, Harry McCurdy's looked really lively down here. I think the Hibs fans still waiting to see the best of him, but he looks like he could be a good outlet for them today.
Yeah, I mean, he's had loads of space. I mean, technically, you can see he's capable, and he's been given loads of space down the right-hand side. It's not come to anything as yet, but certainly you would think from Hibs' perspective, just you want to keep trying to exploit those wide areas and give the guys out there early ball and let them go and try and get 1v1s. And that would be the message as well. Go and take the defenders on.
A win for Hibs today would took them to within 2 points of Hearts ahead of next weekend's derby at Easter Road. Looking to get the better of the maroon and white half of the capital, given what's happened in the derby encounters this season between the two, particularly the last two.
That was great play from McGrath. The ball got clipped down the line. He was tight to the side. I think it was Chebraya was right behind him, but good strength, took the ball down on his chest, and then a little turn to flick the ball off and get the throw in for Dundee United. I mean, look, he's a guy who's got great ability. There's no question of that.
Oh, absolutely. He's just displayed it again. He goes down, free kick United, almost at the right angle of the box of Hibs. You're right, Mikey, yeah, because he's won the throw-in up there, and it's resulted in a really dangerous free kick opportunity. And yeah, McGrath's got terrific dead ball delivery,
which he won again, you know, with wonderful close control, flicking it between two players, getting the free kick. And the point I was going to make was, if he's in a side that are at the higher end of the table, then his qualities, is easier for it to come to the fore. He's been in a side who have been struggling here,
scrapping, yeah,
and he's not had too many of those scrapping players around him as well.
Right-footed free kick coming up from McGrath over on the far side into the Hibs box. It comes, and as usual we give him the big build-up, and he just dumps it behind for a goal kick on the reverse side of the goal.
Yeah, I mean, his delivery is normally exceptional, but on that occasion got way under it. It was a really, really poor free kick, and Dundee United had worked hard to get themselves up the pitch into a decent area to create the opportunity to put the ball in the box. That's a real waste.
I think it was Liam that mentioned his delivery.
Yeah, of course it was.
No, he's got good delivery for sure.
Here is Fish for Hibs on the near side, infield to Cadden, gets it back immediately. He passes it to Jego, who returns it all the way back to his goalkeeper. And David Marshall rolling it to this near side for Fish, up the line for Cadden, and he's got space. As he drives forward, he's got quality as well. He's got pace. It's Cadden, rolls it out wide right for McCurdy. Now he's inside the United box. McCurdy's ball with the outside of the boot is blocked by Mulgrew, and then the whistle goes as that's rifled into the net by Campbell, I think it was, just to the left of the D. So that was a really good finish, but the whistle had gone, free kick United.
That wasn't great for McCurdy though. You know, he got to the edge of the box, he's got so many bodies that are all lined up along the edge of the box in terms of defensively, and he starts to drift infield. He just
running into trouble.
And he just flicked it away aimlessly. Get to the byline. You know, that's what I was just talking about before. You're running and driving towards the box, you're facing the full-back up, get to the byline, go and check, get past the defender, and then you're in behind causing problems instead of drifting along the edge of the box.
That Fletcher goal is the 23rd time Hibs have found themselves behind in the Premiership this season. They've found an equaliser on 8 occasions as Huan goes down, brought down by Freeman, who's claiming his innocence to David Munro, the referee. He's really irate about that, and you can hear Stephen in the background agrees with the Dundee United fullback.
Well, the problem is it didn't look great for Freeman because he looked like he was caught in the wrong position. I think what he's arguing is that Johan spun him. I think he pulled him to begin with, but he was facing up the park, tracking back towards, and it looked as if he was almost trying to block Johan, and the two of them fell over.
I thought it was a foul the other way, personally.
Well,
it might have been to begin with, And I think that's what Freeman was arguing about. But that happened in an instance, and then there was a couple of seconds of him facing the wrong way.
But then he was kind of rugby tackled to the ground by Ewan as well. I mean, for me, it was the Dundee United foul.
It's resulted in a really attacking free kick for Hibs, wide on the left. Level the edge of the D. McCurdy takes into the box, headed away by McGrath. Round about the 6-yard line, back in by Jego, headed away by Mulgrew. Helped on its way by Freeman. Chabraya back in, 2 or maybe even 3 Hibs players in an offside position as it goes behind for the goal kick in any case. It's Dundee United 1, Hibs 0 here at Tannadice. We've played 24 minutes, bang on that now.
That is a bit of a mismatch physically over on that far side anyway between Ewan and Freeman, but you know, I felt as though David Munro got that one wrong. Dundee United are struggling to get any secure possession far enough up the pitch.
All right there.
Yeah, I'm all right.
It's not easy. It's not easy getting possession.
No, and Fletcher at times has looked a wee bit isolated in terms of McGrath and others trying to get up in support of him.
Here come Hibs again down the near side, and Nisbet goes down this time. Mulgrew with the challenge, the ref's happy with it. Mulgrew clears. The Hibs fans, as you can hear, are not happy about it. The header away wasn't great by Fish, but it's picked up by Newell, who then has an altercation with Fletcher. And a little shove out at the Hibs number 11, and the referee sees it as a foul, and that's a free kick to Hibs midway inside their own half. And then about 10 yards away from this near side touchline, Fish squares it to Egan Riley. He got away with that a little bit, Will Fish. The header was far from decisive. United couldn't profit on it though. It's Fish again out to McCurdy in this near side touchline, level with the midway point of the United half on the right hand side. He goes back to Egan Riley in the centre circle, sweeps it forward to Ewan and shows too much of it to McGrath, who pinches it back for the home team, and then Freeman's fouled by Newell, and that's a free kick. It's all got a little bit scrappy out there here at Tannadice Park, with Dundee United leading by 1-0.
Yeah, Dundee United just thanking Joe Newell there for committing the foul, because Kai Fotheringham, it looked as if he was going to get dispossessed. He managed to sort of get it past the onrush of Joe Newell, and I don't think he needed to foul him, because there was lots of other bodies in there waiting to pick it up. Dundee United just need to start to spend a little bit of time on the ball, because
they do.
It's become a little bit sort of quick with the turnovers. Once they've won the ball, they've been losing it pretty quickly. They need to just gain a little bit of possession and spend some time on the ball.
United win it back in the centre circle with McGrath, bounces off a Hibs player and out for a throw-in to United over on that far side.
I've been impressed with Aina so far in this game. I think he's defended really, really well, really combative, and a lot of good clearances as well.
It's back with Mulgrew, square ball for McMahon, who clears, picked up in the halfway line by Jego. Pushing header for McCurdy. He's now cutting infield again. Cadden's away in the overlap. On the right, it's Cadden. Low ball blocked by McMahon brilliantly, and he gets the break of the ball. Quite possibly deserved that, because it was an excellent block by Scott McMahon, who drives forward and goes down under the challenge of Jego, who will go into the referee's book. The yellow card's out for that foul on McMahon, who actually wins the free kick. It wasn't a great touch from him actually, but Jego has got more of McMahon, and it will be a free kick down in the near side for United, and it will be a yellow card for Jego, the first booking of the afternoon.
It was a great block from McMahon, and that is exactly what I was just talking about in terms of going and stopping the ball coming into the box. He lunges in front of Cadden, makes the block, drives his team forward, and you're absolutely spot on, Liam, that he took a little bit of a heavy touch, and it just enticed Jego to go and try and make the tackle. But unfortunately for the Hibs midfielder, he was second best.
There's Stephen Fletcher at the edge of the Hibs box. Good challenge by Newell, picked up by McCurdy, who'll drive forward again as he has done all afternoon, but 3 United players around them, and they win it back, and it's Sibbald in the centre circle, out to BH wide on the left. It's in the near side touchline, about level the 18-yard line of Hibs now. BH poking it infield at the left angle of the box for Harks. Back to McMahon, and a great ball by McMahon. He's straight to Jego, who'll win a throw-in off McMahon on this near side. United are leading by 1-0.
But Hitch should have just thrown that into the box. I don't know why he didn't. You know, you see what happened earlier when he was in a similar position. on that occasion, he's trying to kind of find the perfect angle for the cross. Just put it in, let Stephen Fletcher go and attack the ball.
Some big games in the lower leagues coming up on Tuesday evening. Sportsound will be on air in BBC Radio Scotland. New championship leaders Dundee at home to Wraith Rovers. Amongst all that, Falkirk, of course, after that dramatic game against Dunfermline yesterday, they are at Montrose. And Stirling Albion could effectively win League Two if they go to Dumbarton and win on Tuesday evening. All to play for across the 4 divisions of the SPFL.
McCurdy brings nothing. I'm sorry.
He's just lost it again. United down the right-hand side have it with Freeman level with the Hibs penalty spot. Crosses in. It's a diving header away there by Will Fish. And the flag's up on the far side anyway. United leading 1-0. Michael.
I was just saying, Liam, you know, for me, he's a man down. You know, technically he looks all right. You know, and we've spoken about it. The ball comes out to him. He looks like he could maybe do something. Seldom does it come to anything though. But also decision making. He's in the middle of the park. That's 3 times in a row now he's had turnover.
I think at the start of the match, when he was keeping it simple and just putting the ball into the box, he was effective. Since then, he's tried to complicate his game a wee bit. And
also, Tom, though, he was putting it in the box because he had a little bit of space and it was easy for him because there was nobody up against him.
Yeah.
Now, when you're actually getting into playing football, where people are challenging him, there's no real heart or desire there for me.
Foul by McMahon and Jego in the centre circle. Hibs are in a hurry. Cadden driving down the right. The referee wasn't ready though. And that is just adding fuel to the flames. The Hibs fans around about us here aren't happy because their team were trying to take that free kick quickly. David Monroe, I'm not sure what he was waiting for. He must have been having a word with Scott McMahon just as Hibs tried to take that one. And Joe Newell now over the free kick, which will be retaken in just a moment. We've played the half hour at Tannadice. Stephen Fletcher's goal in 8 minutes, his 8th of the season. As United 1-0 up on Hibs. It's Newell with the clipped free kick. Comes off Fletcher's head there, I think. No, goal kick. Goal kick. Fletcher, to be fair to him, immediately said it came off the Hibs player, which might have been Will Fish.
Looked like it came off Fletcher to me, to be honest.
But you see, you're right. I thought it was Fletcher as well, but you could see Fletcher, I think you said, Liam, his hand went straight up, and Will Fish didn't complain, which makes you think the referee's got that one spot on.
Kevin Nisbet wonder if that opportunity inside a couple of minutes of this game still running through his head.
Inside a couple of feet as well, William.
Yeah, yes. Free kick. Again, it's, as I said about 5 minutes ago, it has got quite scrappy out there. And it's going to be a...
I don't think it's given a free kick, he just stopped it because it was a potential head knock. Yeah. It was a fairly hefty challenge by Will Fish on Stephen Fletcher, but thankfully he's back to his feet. I don't think it was a head knock, I think he just got winded more than anything by the challenge. Drop ball.
Sports Sound here on BBC Radio Scotland across all the frequencies, on Extra, on Sounds, at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. Dundee United imperative that they pick up all 3 points today after that terrific win for Ross County at St Johnstone yesterday. Kilmarnock's home form keeping their heads just above the waterline as things stand as we head into the final furlong of the season. Yet uncontested drop ball in Hibs' favour, and David Monroe leaves it for Egan Riley. Game on again. Here is Jego. Back to Egan Riley. It really was that 6-0 hammering of Aberdeen which cost Jim Goodwin his job, that got Hibs going for a few weeks. They ran into an inspired Rangers at Easter Road that night despite taking the lead, and then despite almost getting a draw at Celtic Park, that was a defeat too. And there was the one against Motherwell last week that will have stuck in their craw as Yuan plays it square into the centre circle for Newell. Across the halfway line, Joe Newell. Low ball out for Harry McCurdy. He's going to get here down in the near side, down with the corner flag. I think that might just have gone over the line. No, the assistant says it is still in. He's done well in that case, McCurdy, as it comes off a United player and out for a Hibs throw-in, taken by Cadden level with 18, to Yuan, to Campbell, who hits it first time with the left foot. Might have been going wide anyway, but Birigiti holds on to it pretty comfortably, and I guess that's the concern for Lee Johnson is that Birighitti hasn't really had too many saves to make. He's punched a couple of crosses away. He had that save, which he didn't know much about, from Nisbet in the opening couple of minutes, but that apart, he's not had too much to do. Long ball by the Aussie keeper. Fletcher kneeing it towards BH. BH had come out to the left-hand side and away from where the ball was going, so Hibs have it back. Fish. Long ball is cut out by Sibbald. It's Diego slipping as he tried to control. Fletcher steals it. McGrath with the pass blocked by Newell though. Hibs have it back. Joe Newell inside his own half in the centre circle, poking it forward to Campbell. First time helps it out onto McCurdy on the near side. Left foot low ball infield to Joe Newell, who's driving forward. Campbell in space, couldn't find him. And then McCurdy has it nicked off him by Harks. Claim for handball against McGrath just outside the United penalty area. The referee doesn't agree with the protests and United are able to get it clear. They lead this game by 1-0. They clear 11 minutes out from half-time.
They clear it, but they're not keeping the ball. You know, again, it's the same problem for Dundee United. There's a couple of passes, turnover. They need to be able to get more time spent on the ball and get some faces of play.
It's like they always just look for Stephen Fletcher and think, right, we'll pump it up to him, he'll hold it up and we can try and get bodies up, instead of trying to build just a wee bit more, like you say, a couple of passes, take the sting out of the game. Everything's so quickly up to Fletcher, which is a good outlet at times, but
this is akin to how they played at Ibrox last week.
Yeah,
and they're not in Glasgow at Ibrox this afternoon. As Ewan isn't nicked off and by Aina and out for a Hibs throw-in level with the United 6-yard line over on that far side. They're nowhere near the levels they were against Aberdeen. That was a game they lost. Ewan picks up on the far side. They are 1-0 up though, as the cross comes in from Chabraya. Aina's challenge on Nisbet, who goes to ground, cleared by Sibbald. And out of play, I think, for another throw-in on the far side.
Aina's made a lot of good blocks so far, but he needs to be careful as well. You know, he's lunging in. Everything seems a little bit stretched. And, you know, there, Nisbet's sort of falling into him. But, I mean, it's never a penalty kick, but you can imagine that sort of thing happening where it could end up with a penalty kick.
He always seems at full stretch, doesn't he? But he's been effective, there's absolutely no doubt about that.
I was talking to Kenny Miller last week about him at Ibrox, and he worked with him at Huddersfield, who he's on loan from. Said really good, promising young player, but can be rash. And he was sent off in his United debut against Kilmarnock as the long throw comes in. Ewan heads it on towards the 6-yard line. United clear again. Up towards Fletcher. Tries to chest it down for Harks, but they've lost it again, and it's Newell. Hard work for United this right now. Ewan wide on that left-hand side, gets his cross in. Cleared by Mulgrew, facing his own goal as well. Aina takes an edge there as Newell goes to ground. And it's cleared by United up towards the halfway line.
Why he's taking the touch on his knee, I've got no idea.
No.
Just clear it. And then you're thinking to yourself, it's heart in the mouth stuff, because the touch on the knees happened, and then I don't know whether it was Nisbet or was it Jeggle. Somebody was looking as if they were just going to nick it away from him.
Nisbet, yeah.
As he was about to clear it, and you're thinking that'll be a penalty, but he just managed to get the challenge. But yeah, certainly it's just, I think you get that sense that just be careful.
Throw in for United, taken by McMahon. It's going to come right back to Hibs. United cannot keep hold of the ball whatsoever. BH giving chase as it comes back to Marshall, who clears first time with the ball bobbling back towards him. And then Chris Cadden, under absolutely no pressure whatsoever, is able to control the ball as it dropped from the sky. Cadden back into his own half. Now he is under pressure from Harks. He rolls it back to Fish. He'll leave it for Marshall. Can Hibs find an equaliser before the break? 8 minutes of the 45 to play. Dundee United 1, Hibs 0. Chris Cadden flips it forward. The header clear there by Mulgrew. Stephen Fletcher, lovely cushion header to BH on this left-hand side. It's BH with a cross, Fletcher with a header that led to the only goal of the game so far. Sibbald goes back the way to Mulgrew, takes a touch, shuffles onto his left, dinks it into the centre circle, looking for McGrath. It's a difficult pass and Ewan's won it back off Jamie McGrath. Ewan driving down that left-hand side, 3 Hibs players in the middle.
Great
Sibbald
play.
just brilliantly there to keep with Ewan and then just take it off him and then launch it clear.
He needed, you know, that's another example of what Tom was talking about. Dundee United won a free kick here, so it's worked out, but Sibbald goes across, he does brilliant with a challenge on Ewan. He gets his body in, good strength, and then he's a composed player, but it was literally, he took one touch and he just wanted to smash it up the park. there's a couple of wee balls he can play just to get the team into the game again. Get a touch of the ball, get a feel for it.
It's a strange one though, because Stephen Fletcher is such a good outlet, such a good link player. He's very good at bringing others into the game. So you're kind of looking at him thinking, right, we'll just pump it to him. But
you do it so early, he's isolated. You know, to me, it just, and you've got to mix it up as well. You were touching on that before. You can't do it every time. And it looks to me as if they've been told, go early, and they're doing it literally every time.
Egan Riley got booked for that in Fletcher, incidentally, as McGrath takes the free kicks. Another poor delivery, headed away by Hibs on the 18-yard line. It's Fish, now it's back with Freeman, and then launches it forward. Harks will give chase here. Cadden's favourite to get there first, he does, and he nods it back to his goalkeeper, and it's Stacey United 1, Hibs 0. Short ball, Marshall just bowling it to Will Fish, who squares it to Egan Riley. Midway inside his own half, finds Yuan down the left. He's got the overlap from Chabraya. Yuan now a bit level at the edge of the D of the United box, passing it back the way to Diego. He shifts it to the right of the centre circle for Fish, who finds Cadden. As Cadden forced back the way here, the frustration beginning to build amongst the Hibs fans as Cadden squares it short to Newell. And he was back the way to Fish, to the left of the centre circle for Egan Riley. It's a little cynical tug on Fletcher that led to that free kick and led to the yellow card for the on-loan Burnley player. And he's on the ball here again, one of Tomo's former clubs, of course, who returned to the English Premier League the other night.
Indeed.
And the ball from Fish is poor as he looked for McCurdy, goes out of play for a throw-in on this near side for Dundee United, who lead this match 1-0, creeping ever closer to the half-time interval. We're in the final 5.
You can feel the anxiety from the Hibs fans down below us, you know, just on that occasion there. They're keeping the ball, but they're not going anywhere with it. United shape's decent, and the frustration of the Hibs fans is they're wanting the ball forward. They want to see some entertaining football, and since the first 10 minutes it's been scrappy, and Hibs have really struggled to create anything noteworthy.
That's a poor header by Fish straight to Fletcher. He tried to ease it through to Fotheringham, who gets onto a poor bit of defensive play. Fotheringham shoots, it's deflected, takes the sting out of the shot, breaks back the way to Harks as Hibs clear. Out wide left to the box for Baich. His cross comes in, Campbell blocks it, and it's cleared by Cadden. He's looking a little bit nervous at the back, Hibs, particularly those middle two, as the referee gives Kevin Nisbet a free kick just to the right of the centre circle. It's United 1, Hibs 0.
I'm not sure that's a free kick.
It's not, he lost his balance.
Yeah.
And Newell's taken it quickly and put it straight out of play for the throw-in, and that's not going to aid their cause when it comes to getting their supporters on side. Dundee United 1, Hibs 0, and there could be no underestimating the importance and significance that a win for United would be. What it would give them, not just the fact they would claw back the 3 points that Ross County collected yesterday, but the confidence it would give them as they go into the final 2 matches before the split, and then the dog-eat-dog bottom 6. Yuan wide on the left, up against Freeman, level with the edge of the centre circle, checks his run and passes it low in field for Diego, who looks up. Big switch of play for McCurdy, who's going to control it on the chest. He's done well as he drives it off McMahon. He's won his team a corner as well. Comes up from Harry McCurdy, and Hibs have an opportunity from this corner kick. Tunnel side here at Tannadice with 42 on the clock. They trail 1-0, and this is an opportunity for them. Joe Newell over the corner, as he tends to be on this side. In swinger coming up, left-footed. A group of players to the left at the penalty spot are on the march now, and it comes. Fletcher's there to win it, headed towards the goal by Fish, but it's an easy take for Birighitti. United are looking to hit the counter here. Birighitti bowling it out to Aina, left it for Fotheringham. It comes back to Aina. Hibs are funneling back, but there's still an opportunity for United here. Crossfield ball switched to the left of the box for Baich. Takes a couple of touches, into the area he goes. He decides to shoot himself, and he puts it well past the right-hand post, and it stays Dundee United 1, Hibs 0. United have been excellent in the counter-attack. They haven't been great in possession whatsoever this afternoon, but counter-attacking wise they have been threatening, although that might owe something to the fact that Hibs have not defended particularly well when they've been up the other end of the pitch. They're leaving huge gaps.
They are. I mean, they've had 3-4 really good counter-attacks at real pace on that occasion. There was 4 up in support for Hitch, and he cuts into his right foot, his weaker foot, and tries the shot, and he never really looked all that comfortable as he was trying to hit it. He should have probably looked for a cross into the box where there was numbers.
Aina with a long ball forward. Fletcher's underneath it, flicks it infield to Fotheringham. He does win more headers than not, Stephen Fletcher. United using that, as the guys were saying, as a tactic today. Marshall's clearance is far from decisive. He's sliced at the header from BH forward, is nodded away by Fish, and then the free kick goes against Diego for a supposed high boot, and Jamie McGrath, to say I'm not sure what Diego's supposed to do. I'm pretty sure he's looking at the ball there. I mean, it's totally innocuous, and McGrath is stooping low to try and get his head onto that. It's hardly a high boot.
It's not a high boot for me, and you're right, Diego doesn't even see McGrath coming into his vision at all, and when McGrath does actually make connection with the ball, he's probably only a metre off the ground, so for me that shouldn't have been a foul.
No, it's a free kick.
You think so?
Yeah.
Alright.
I mean, I totally agree in terms of there's no punishment for Diego in regards to you can't book him for anything like that, but that's a free kick. And McGrath gets there first, and then Diego makes contact with him, regardless of whether it's his head or not. That's the right call from the referee for me.
I think that Lyndon Dykes goal that was ruled out at Hampden against Israel, and then after the VAR check it was given the high boot, as the clip free kick comes in towards Mulgrew to the right hand side of the box. Hibs clear, the header from Sibbald out to that right hand side. Mulgrew is leaving it, and he was in an offside position as it drifts out of play for a Hibs throw in. We're into first half stoppage time, and that will be just the 1 minute, and so far so good for Jim Goodwin and Lee Sharp down there. Stephen McLean, the fourth official, confirming the 1 minute. Hibs have got that to try and get back on terms before the break, but it's United enjoying some possession for once over on the far side. There's a foul by Newell. He's brought Fotheringham to the ground. That's going to be a United free kick, and another chance for Jamie McGrath to get this into the Hibs box in the final seconds of the first half.
There's been so many free kicks in this first half. Very, very scrappy, stop-start.
Yep.
But lots of good play, which is a bit of a contradiction in terms there, but it has been an entertaining first half. There's been lots of goalmouth action. It's been end-to-end, but there's been an awful lot of free kicks as well. And this one, right before half-time, a great chance for Jamie McGrath with his great delivery, Liam.
Yeah, well, normally does, to be fair. Throng of players along the 18-yard line here. Big gap between them and the goalkeeper, and it comes the free kick. Fletcher's won the header again, but it's fairly weak, asking him a lot to generate the power from the neck muscles there to test David Marshall, who held on comfortably as the half-time whistle goes. You can hear the Hibs fans' reaction down below us. Is that directed at the players, the manager or the referee? Either way, they've been left frustrated after that first half, after Kevin Nisbet missed a glorious chance 2 minutes in, where he hit it off the leg of Virigiti, even behind for the corner, but he really should have been wheeling away and celebrating his 10th goal of the season. He was made to pay, because 6 minutes later, as is BH, with a wonderful cross into the box after it was slipped out wide to him by McGrath, and Stephen Fletcher with an even better header down into the ground, hit the power necessary to beat David Marshall, and that took Stephen Fletcher's tallies, their top scorer, up to 8 goals for the season. That could be a golden goal for United as they try and get themselves wedged off the bottom of the Premiership. Hibs have had a lot of the ball in that first half. United surrendered a lot of possession, but really they haven't tested Mark Virigiti as often as they would like to. He's made some interventions from cross balls. There's been a few last-ditch blocks, particularly from the likes of Scott McMahon and Loic Aina. But United, they want to see more of the ball in the second half, but if they don't and they end up winning, they won't care too much about that. Half-time here at Tannadice is Dundee United 1, Hibs 0.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sport Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and BBC Sounds.
This is Sport Sound from BBC Radio Scotland,
where Scottish football lives.
That was kind of the making of The Who into an internationally big band.
People try to put us to down. Join me, Billy Sloan, in conversation with Roger Daltrey of The Who.
We must have looked like aliens arriving in Glasgow.
In the second hour of the latest programme, he looks back on the band's incredible career and forward to some exciting new projects.
Obviously, I've just finished the Keith Moon film script.
Roger also talks about The Who's new live album.
It is more disciplined with an orchestra, but I like that.
Billy Sloan. Listen on the BBC Sounds app.
Right now you're listening to Sports Sound with me, Richard Gordon, where after 45 minutes here on Tayside, it is the home side who have a 1-0 advantage given them early on by Stephen Fletcher. It's been a really, really strange game, but it's United who have the advantage, and what a victory that would be for them if they can see it out in the second 45 minutes. Conversely, it would mean a 4th successive league defeat for Hibernian. And I've got to say, it's a massive Hibs support. You know, looking at, I've been along at both ends of the gantry here. They have filled the Jerry Kerr stand here at Tannadice. The only area that doesn't have fans is the little enclosure, which is just along beyond the dugouts. But it's a fantastic turnout from the Hibs fans, and we heard Michael on that half-time whistle what they think of what is being served up, or at least the fact that the team is trailing at half-time.
Yeah, they're obviously disappointed the side's losing 1-0 because territorially the game's been played, the vast majority of it, down in Dundee United's half, and Hibs have huffed and puffed. You know, they've been in and around the edge of the box. There's been a few moments where you think maybe, but there's not been, you know, the best opportunity was the one that was early on from 2 foot out for Kevin Nisbet, where you're just expecting the net to bulge, and then since then there hasn't been a clear-cut chance for Hibs really, and I think Liam mentioned it in commentary that Dundee United have counter-attacked pretty well, although in terms of just retaining the ball, they've not been at their best with that. But the most important thing for Dundee United is they're leading 1-0, and hence why you were hearing the Hibs crowd, because they're disappointed and upset that their side are not at least level.
I don't think they've played well, Hibs.
No, not after the early stages.
They've had some decent amount of the ball,
yep.
Purely because of how Dundee United are playing, but I think that
they've not fashioned any good opportunities.
In the final third, it's breaking down for fun. They're not looking creative. They look fragile, they look a wee bit nervy. Nobody's really taking risks. So for me, I can understand why the Hibernian supporters are frustrated, because what they're watching is not an entertaining team playing at their best. They're watching a team who look like they're short of confidence.
There was a point, Michael, where clearly the frustration that you feel regarding Harry McCurdy boiled to the fore. I mean, look, I think it's fair to say that his Hibernian career has been more remarkable for his mohawk hairstyle rather than anything he's done on the pitch. I mean, he's just one of those players that seems to be style over substance at times.
There's no end product, you know. And by the way, he's not alone.
No.
Look at, I'm looking at the front four for Hibs, and Josh Campbell's been able to come on and score some goals, and his performances have improved, and Kevin Nisbet is a threat. But either side, Ellie Youhan up until the Derby game, and after that point, and I said it during the Derby, he has no end product. Since then, he went on and he scored some goals.
3 goals
because
3 games in a row.
He looks like threatening, as if he's going to do something. But it's got to that stage in the season where, talking about the Derby game, you're into the new year at that point. You're over half the way in the season, and you've not really seen an end product. He then went on a wee bus where you're like, oh, there's what you need. That needs to be delivered more consistently. But to me, it's back to the Ellie Youhan that I'd seen the first half of the season, where he threatens but doesn't deliver anything. And you've got that on either side. You've got him on one side and you've got McCurdy on the other. And McCurdy's worse. I mean, because he doesn't even show any desire to get on the ball. And the ball comes to him, oh, okay, thanks, I'll maybe try and do something. He's got no desire, zero. Whereas at least with Youhan, he'll run and he'll try and get the ball. But he's back to what he was the first half of the season, where he's not actually delivering anything, and that is a big problem for Hibs, because to me that is a great area for them to be able to go and try and get 1v1s, because you've got Fotheringham out on the right hand side, who's in front of you've got him in front of Freeman, and you've got Behich who's in front of McMahon here. Now you would think down the left hand side you've got 2 defensive players there, but I've not seen a great deal of tracking back from Behic, and when he is back in an area, I don't think he's been doing a great deal of defensive work. So Hibs have to be utilising those wide areas to maximise getting in behind the Dundee United defence. But they've got two players there that have not really done it.
I was going to say that there was a spell actually in that first half, Tom, that it reminded me of that game when Jim was still in charge of Aberdeen, right after the World Cup break. He got huge criticism for a very defensive performance against Celtic. Now, well, that was against Celtic. I mean, this is now United against Hibernian, but there were points there where it was just the banks of players right across the middle of the park. They weren't showing any inclination to get up the park other than the long smash up towards Fletcher.
Yeah, I think, you know, Jim mentioned the injuries before the game, and I think the team's missing wide players, it's missing a wee bit of pace, and he clearly feels the best way for him to win matches right now is to play on the counter-attack, have that solid shape, that foundation, defend, and they have defended well. I mean, I've been really impressed with Aina this afternoon. Charlie's actually played really well alongside him. They've both defended well. Not that they've been asked too many questions. A lot of it's been basic defending that you'd expect them to clear balls, but Jim's obviously thought, right, here's what I've got just now. Let's make it difficult for the opposition, which they're doing, so tick, and let's try and play in the counter. And they've done it well 3-4 occasions. I think he would like to see them keep the ball better than they have on occasion. We both mentioned it during that first half, but sometimes it is just a bit quick up to Fletch. And, you know, I played with him. He's exceptional at what he does in terms of linking the play and holding the play up. Very intelligent. He's brilliant in the air. But it doesn't mean you need to do it every time.
You see, Tomo hits the nail on the head there. And by the way, it's completely understandable for Dundee United to be doing that because the bottom of the table, the confidence is low. They are fragile. So what they're doing is they're trying to limit the space for opponents to be able to go and exploit. I still think, as I've said before, the wide areas when you're playing against teams like that are where you really want to go and try and get at them. But, you know, Charlie Mulgrew's a good player. What you don't want to do is you don't want to leave him exposed with lots of gaps around him. So they've been tight, they've been compact, and they've tried to make it difficult for Hibs. So that's a completely understandable tactic and thought process from Jim Goodwin. And you just, from his perspective, you would hope that Dundee United are able to just retain the ball a little bit more so that they're not having to play so much of the game out of possession. Because the way they have been all season, you're just fearful of a mistake happening or something happening that allows the opponents to get back into the game.
I mean, they should, Tom, will be able to hold on to possession. You look at guys like Harks and Sibbald and McGrath in the middle of the park. Yeah,
I mean, but I don't know whether the directive is not to take the risks by putting the ball into the middle of the pitch. You know, don't take any risks, keep the game simple. And by going long up to Stephen Fletcher, then you are clearing the ball 70 yards from your goal. It might not be pretty to watch. When they have countered, the football's been good. A couple of really nice switches of play.
Yep.
But yeah, you know, as soon as you start taking risks, and it's a team, you know, that haven't had a clean sheet since they last won a game. You know, well, they got one in the cup against Stirling Uni, but so that's the foundation he's trying to work from. Let's get a clean sheet. They've now got the goal. The thing for them is now, 45 minutes, they've got something to play for. They're 1-0 up. These 3 points are huge, as we've discussed. So they've got something to really hold on to and defend. It's what's the Hibernian reaction going to be in front of this big support that they've got here. You'd expect a reaction from them, but they're low in confidence as well. They've now lost 11 goals in 4 games. They've lost 3 of those, and they're halfway to losing another one. So they know themselves that they're under pressure as well. So it'll be really interesting second half. I wouldn't expect any change from Jim in terms of the way that they are playing and lining up and the structure and style that they're using, because it's been effective in that first half. You can't say they've not limited Hibernian, partly because Hibernian have been poor, but the tactics are working, so keep them going.
Well, the 2 lots of subs are out on the pitch right now, and no indication of any changes at this stage. You would feel it's Hibernian who are going to have to try to find something to put a bit of spark, a bit of life into the game, as the guys have been seeing so much possession, but really flattering it to deceive for the most part, and that being the case It is United who have the advantage. It was an excellent goal, wasn't it, Michael? The build-up, Sibbald out wide to Behich, first-time cross, and just a classic header from Stephen Fletcher.
Absolutely top drawer. It really was, and you know, it was another one of those. It was a counter-attack to begin with. The ball first of all came in from Behich, and he wasn't able to get anybody to get on the end of it. And the ball ricocheted out to the edge of the box. And as you said there, it came to Sibbald, just recirculating it back to Behich, and next time around, great pick out, and there was no chance that Stephen. You could sense as soon as the ball was about to land on Fletcher's head, you thought to yourself, it's in the back of the net, and that was it. Bottom corner.
It's a fabulous header.
Bulleted. No chance for the goalkeeper, was it? No.
Brilliant, honestly. I mean, the cross end's good, but to generate that power that Stephen Fletcher did, we know how good in the area he is, but that's, as I said in commentary, a textbook header back across the goalkeeper into the corner of the net, and they've not done that maybe enough for me. Behich has been down this left-hand side on a few occasions and not repeated that. It's your best option of getting a goal is Stephen Fletcher in the middle of the 6-yard box, putting balls into the box. I'd like to see Dundee United do that more often, because that is for me their best option of getting another goal.
Be massive for the team, massive for Jim Goodwin as well, Stephen, if they can
be huge for
see
him.
This through.
Yeah, I mean, I think just for him personally to get his first victory as Dundee United manager would be, you know, something obviously he would enjoy quite a lot. But for the team, it's so important because they'll have watched what happened yesterday in Perth. They know that there's a gap there, and that's, you know, panic can set in when you're kind of adrift at the bottom of the division. So it's kind of siege mentality. They've got to make sure that they come out of this game. Yes, there is still 7 games left, but time very quickly is running out for them, and it's going to be a huge battle between now and the end of the season. But winning today and cutting the gap to 2 points would certainly go a long way to helping them rescue this situation. It's going to be brilliant watching this post-split, these games. There's going to be so much pressure on them. You know, St Johnstone getting dragged in a wee bit, Kilmarnock, Ross County and Dundee United. The games are going to be absolutely huge, and in these games generally you don't see a lot of quality. You see the nerves kicking in, but it'll be interesting to see who deals with the pressure the best.
And this is going to be a test, isn't it, of United in those circumstances, Michael. 11 games without a win in the league. They know the value of getting the 3 points on the board, as much as what they're doing in terms of the play and the skills that they can display out there. It's about having the right mindset in the second half.
This is all mental. That's exactly what it is. It's the mental challenge that is quite rightly being questioned so far this season. Have they got the character to be able to see this through? This is only one game, but it certainly starts to go a long way to rebuilding the confidence and belief that they can get themselves out of it. The nerves will undoubtedly play a part in the second half, because the closer they get, if they're still 1-0 up, it's a very precarious scoreline, 1-0. They need to make sure that they have that mental strength to be able to see themselves through, because this is a colossal 3 points for Dundee United if they're able to get this with the battle that they've got to try to keep their top flight status this season.
The United players making their way out the Hibs 11, and it is the same 11. Came out just a few moments ago, but Charlie Mulgrew leading the United players back out onto the pitch. They will be shooting down the slope in the second half. There's a bit of sunshine out in the pitch, certainly not in the gantry, where it continues to be absolutely Baltic, despite us now moving nicely into April. Let's hope there'll be a bit of warmth at some stage in the remainder of this season. But it's United who have the advantage, and it could be a massive afternoon for them. Dundee United 1, Hibernian 0, half-time. Back to our commentary team of Stephen Thompson, Michael Stewart and Liam McLeod.
Thanks, Richard. The 95th league meeting between them at Tannadice. United are 142 to Hibs 25. United on the 3rd worst winless run in Europe right now across the top flight divisions. Troyes in France and Metalist Kharkiv of Ukraine are the only two to have gone longer without a victory in the top flight leagues across the continent. United 11 without a win in the Premiership, get the second half underway. Tangerine shirts, black shorts, tangerine socks with the black tops. Hibs in their lime green change kit. And as Richard was saying, United coming down the hill here, left to right. The Eddie Thompson stand is what they'll be attacking in this second half. No changes for either team. As Elie does well defensively, knocks it back off Fotheringham and out of play for a throw-in on this near side for Hibs. So it's Birighitti in goal for United, Freeman, Aina, Mulgrew, McMahon across the back with Sibbald, Harks, McGrath and Beich in the middle, Stephen Fletcher, Fotheringham supporting the number 9 as Hibs come forward with Elie driving down the left-hand side, and he's been nicked off him by Sibbald. What a waste for Hibs, because he had an option out to his left as well, and I think Kevin Nisbet's just asking that question. United have a man down with a head knock down below us from a previous phase in the play. Is it Kieran Freeman who's down below us? I think it was
so. David Munro should have stopped the game instantly. I mean, it's a head knock. I think the assistant referee was only feet from it. He knows it's a head knock. Thankfully he's getting to his feet, but in these situations the play's got to stop.
I can only imagine he's not seen it.
Well, get the information over a wee bit quicker, but he let it play on another, say, 7 seconds. But anyway, there you go.
It's Freeman's been seen too. He's off the pitch just now. Hibs with Marshall in goal, Cadden, Egan Riley, Fish and Chabraya, Jago, Newell, Campbell, McCurdy and Ewan supporting Nisbet. And it's United who clear through Aina. Long ball forward into the sunshine. Off the head of Will Fish into the midfield. Sibbald gets there ahead of Campbell, but it breaks to Elie Ewan. Tried to back heel it to Campbell and then knocked out of play by Harks. Not what he intended, but it's out for a throw into Hibs on this near side, which is taken by Chabraya as he bowls it back the way to Egan Riley. He now has it midway inside his own half. Short ball to Fish. Back to Egan Riley. You've got Chabraya out to this near side as an easy ball. He plays it forward to Ewan instead. First time Ewan out to Chabraya. Infield to Newell, who fires it out to Elie Ewan on this near side. Level with the United 18 now to Ewan. He's got an overlap from Chabraya. It's a poor cross. Might get a second chance here. It was blocked by Freeman, but it breaks back to Ewan. Now it's with Newell out wide left. Chabraya right foot cross bends into the United box and it's headed away by McMahon.
That's another example of those where Johan's got 1v1 in the wide area. He's got Chabraya making a great run up the outside. He's got an overlap. All he needs to do is just slide the ball 2 yards into the path of his overlapping fullback, and they're in behind the Dundee United defence and they're breaking into the box. It's just decision making, and that is not difficult. Instead, he throws a lazy left foot at it, hits the defender who's standing 2 yards away from him, and the whole attack is dead.
Only twice in the last 10 seasons has the side sitting bottom after 30 games escaped relegation. St Mirren in 2019, Hamilton 2 seasons before that. Both saved themselves in the playoffs. As United pick up a throw, and indeed United lost to St Mirren in that playoff in one of the worst penalty shootouts ever seen. As Freeman prepares to take this throw and level with the 18 on this near side. Bowls it towards Ian Harks. He's on to it now, down towards the byline, and it bounces behind for a goal kick to Hibs, though United fans think that should be a corner. The very early exchange of the second half are 3.5 into it, and still United leading by 1-0. That's knocked back to the edge of his box there for Fish. Squares it to Egan Riley. It's a short ball along the deck to Chabraya on this near side. Up the line when it's met by Freeman, who clears. Egan Riley gets rid of it with Fletcher lurking. Now it's with Jamie McGrath collecting on this near side, under pressure from 2 Hibs players in Chabraya and Newell, but United emerge with the ball with Fotheringham on this near side. Now to play for a throw. Both claim it's gone United's way, though, just beyond the midway point of the Hibs half on this near side. Kieran Freeman seems to be showing no ill effects from that head knock a few minutes ago. And he'll take this throw about level with the edge of the D of the Hibs penalty area. Bowled onto the chest of McGrath, gives it back to Freeman, gets it into his stride, looks up and he whips the ball. It's a really good ball. Beich pulls it back for Fletcher, who skies it. What a chance! What a chance for Stephen Fletcher to score his second and United's second, and he knows it. And how important, how crucial will that miss prove to be come the end of the season, come the end of today, more immediately. 1-0 United, should have been 2.
You can't believe it, and neither can the supporters behind that goal. The ball in was great, deep. I thought Beich was going to hit it first time. He lays it into the path of Stephen Fletcher, who's 7 yards out. he really he has to hit the target. It's a big miss, and he'll be desperately hoping that that's not costly come the end of the game. He will get a better chance than that.
I tell you, BH puts that on a plate for Fletcher.
It's actually really good play by BH, because it looked like he was winding up a shot.
Really good.
I don't know why he didn't just put his foot through it. He goes for the side foot and leans back over the bar. Just absolutely smash it.
I mean, that could prove very costly for Dundee United.
Long ball forward as Nisbet evaded the offside trap. He's on the ball, he's inside the box, it's to the left of it now. Looking for support, pulls it back to Ewan, left angle of the penalty area. Really good ball in, played back across by Cadden into the air, headed away by Yahina, only as far as Newell, who slides in, took a heavy touch, Sybil with the block. Breaks to Ewan, who pulls it back here to Chebraya. Low ball out to McCurdy wide on the left hand side. Skips in field, he's on the right here as he reverses the ball, looking for Campbell, but it's going to come through to Birigiti, who holds on and snuffs out the danger at the feet of Campbell and Ahina, and it stays Dundee United 1, Hibs 0.
I mean, that attack from Dundee United, great ball in down the right hand side to the back post for BH, and you could just see it all playing out. You're thinking, Fletcher's in a bit of space, if he just lays this off, what a chance. He did it perfectly, and just that final piece of the jigsaw, Fletcher just to put it into the back of the net, and that would have been another great goal for Dundee United. But it's not, and it leaves the game in that precarious scoreline, as I was saying before, of just 1-0, especially with a side who haven't won in 11 games. You know, they're not a side that are going to be comfortable defending a 1-0 lead and almost just be, okay, throw what you've got at us, we'll soak up the pressure. You get that feeling that if they don't get a second goal, it's going to be a nervy afternoon.
There's a ball bobbling around the 18-yard line, breaks to Ian Harkes, who slashes at it, and it goes right through to David Marshall. It's another big chance now. Ian Harkes is capable of hitting the ball so much better than he did there, and it stays 1-0 to United.
I don't know about you, Tom, but I get the sense now that this is almost the nervousness at the other end of the park from Dundee United, where they get that feeling that we need to make this two, because I don't think he needed to shoot there.
It was a desperate swing at the ball from him.
I felt as if Will Fish has missed the ball completely. I thought he could have almost just run onto it and taken the ball further himself, rather than try to have that.
It's a difficult skill to hit it with no pace on the half volley like he was trying there. You're right, maybe just chest it down, or but another chance. So you can't say that's not a chance.
You have to stop the play, sorry Tommy. Yeah, another head knock. This time Ellie Yuan is on the receiving end. So stoppage in play here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland, across the frequencies, on Extra, on Sounds at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. I mentioned it in the first half, no harm repeating that we will have a programme on Tuesday evening. The Scotland women's side in action against Costa Rica. That will be one of the games covered, but also big games in the Championship. Dundee with that draw in Arbroath yesterday was enough to put them ahead of Queen's Park at the top of the Championship. They've got a game in hand as well, and they are one of the teams in action on Tuesday night right here on Sports Sound when they take on Raith Rovers. Morton, Hamilton, Cally Thistle, Arbroath, Inverness making a little cheeky late run for a place in the playoff positions in the Championship. In League One, Falkirk, after that draw against Dunfermline yesterday, disappointing for them. They've been 2-0 up. It was 2-2 by half time. Dunfermline are at Peterhead as they close in on the League One title, and Stirling Albion are so close to the League Two title against Dumbarton, who came flying out at the traps at the start of the season, but it's all fallen apart for them. And the Beanos go to the Rock on Tuesday evening with a chance to effectively close out the title when you look at the goal difference advantage that they enjoy over the Suns as the game gets back underway here. And of course Ross County Aberdeen in the Premiership on Friday evening gets the next set of fixtures underway, the penultimate set of fixtures in the Premiership before it splits, as Chebraya gets a throw in here level with his own 18-yard line on the main stand, Jerry Kerr side. Lovely ball in field there by Nisbet. Now Campbell looking to get McCurdy away, blocked by McMahon though. It does fall Josh Campbell's way again. He's by and large been excellent this season. Campbell scored a hat-trick against Aberdeen in Jim Goodwin's final game in charge of the Dons. As Egan Riley collects on the near side, he's right bang on the halfway line in front of the two technical areas, just moving in field, looking for an option. I mean, told to get on with it by his own supporters behind him. Real unrest amongst the fans of both Edinburgh clubs right now. As Campbell dinks the ball forward, Bates should see it behind for the goal kick, and he does, and it stays Dundee United 1, Hibs 0. As you said earlier, Michael, if Hibs lose this game, yes, it's a derby next Saturday at Easter Road, but the closing weeks of their season are beginning to fall apart if they don't get something out of this game.
Yeah, for me, this is the pivotal game. If they get the victory, it can put to bed the 3 defeats, and then you focus on looking forward again, whereas this is a 4th defeat, and it's down to the inconsistency that they've had already this season. That if it's 4 defeats in a row, it just feels as if all the negativity comes back, and it's a case of looking down the way rather than up.
There's McCurdy skipping infield, driving forward now, moving towards the United box to the outside of the boot. He finds Cadden, he's just inside the box, right hand side, puts it across, blocked on the 6-yard line. Ayena's in the way. Again, able to get it clear.
He's been outstanding. The guy's been brilliant. The amount of blocks he's made.
Here comes Aziz Beich up the other end, midway inside the Hibs half, now making his way to the penalty area. Just showed a little bit too much of it to Fish, then barges him to the deck, and Hibs will have a free kick. 2 promising attacks from both teams out there. What's been a pretty stodgy affair here at Tannadice. 11 and a half into the second half. United still leading by that early Stephen Fletcher goal to 0. Chabraya wide on the left-hand side, level with the edge of the D. Dinks it in with the left foot, half away. Campbell through the legs of Sybil, but Sybil gets the break off Ellie Ewan and clears. Now Fletcher. Oh, he's trying to lay it into the path of Bates, but he gets it all wrong, and Hibs have it back here with Newell. Midway inside United territory. Big switch of play with the left peg, out to that right-hand side for Cadden, who controls. Level the edge of the D, up against McGrath. Back he goes to Jago. Haven't seen much of Jago since the opening 10-15 minutes when Hibs were seeing a lot of the ball, even though they conceded in that time. It is Ewan just holding off Freeman. Rolls it out wide left here for Chabraya. Dreadful ball by Chabraya, straight to Harks, who's then fouled by Newell. And Dundee United have a free kick, 12 and a half into the second half. United leading by a goal to 0, and Hibs, Brian McLaughlin, are going to make their first change.
Yeah, the first substitution of the afternoon. Mykola Kuharevich is coming on, the Ukrainian under-21 international. Rather surprisingly, he's replacing Josh Campbell. And I also think as well there's going to be a couple of substitutions coming up for Dundee United very shortly. Indeed, possibly Niskanen coming on. He's just receiving his last few words from Jim Goodwin, and it may well be that Kai Fotheringham will be the player coming off as well.
Kukarevich on, he's on loan from Troyes, who I mentioned earlier on are on a worse winless run than Dundee United are at the moment. One of only 2 teams in Europe in the top leagues who are. Brilliant from Ayena, but his footwork almost cost him there as Jago plays it straight off Sybil in the centre circle. Long ball out towards Kevin Nisbet on this near side. He evades him and goes out for a throw into United, level with their own penalty spot down on this near side. He's certainly interesting to watch, isn't he, like Ayena? The position he found himself in there in the centre circle, wriggled away from a couple of challenges before losing the ball, but he wasn't punished.
He's definitely got something, no doubt about it.
Long thrown up the line by Freeman, flicked on by Fotheringham. Egan Riley forward towards the United box, headed away by Mulgrew. And Newell gets his head onto it and nods it back the way to Will Fish. Cross halfway in the centre circle.
Where's McCurdy? You know, it was a rhetorical question.
I know, but I'm telling you, he's running around everywhere where the ball isn't.
You know, in terms of the point I'm making is Will Fish is moving over to the right-hand side. He's got Chris Cadden over in the right back area, and nobody else up in the high on the park. It's recognising where they need to be on the, and he's charging about over the other side of the park. It's like it's not where you need to be.
Ellie Ewan on this left-hand side taking on Freeman, making for the byline now. Shows a bit too much of it to the United full-back, but the challenge results in a Hibs corner. United leading by 1-0 as we tick towards the hour mark here at Tannadice. Jim Goodwin will be making at least 1, possibly 2 changes, as Brian was saying, but he might just wait until after this corner's taken. The apologies if you're offended by any language that might be getting picked up by the pitch side microphones as Niskanen comes on for Fotheringham. So I haven't seen much of Niskanen in the starting 11 for Dundee United this season. I did think that he might be making a double change there, Jim Goodwin, but it was just the one, and Jari Niskanen comes on, being the perennial substitute for United this campaign, but he's got the last half hour of this one as McCurdy prepares to take the corner down on this left-hand side. The Hibs left as they attack the shed end. Again, there's a group of players in about the 6-yard line, and it comes, and it's Karevich who got his head to it, he heads it over the crossbar, and that'll be a goal kick to United. And again, Mark Birighitti in the first 15-16 minutes of the second half hasn't had a heck of a lot to do, if anything.
And thankfully for Dundee United, because he's somebody that he just needs to get his way into the game, and because he's made a couple of real high-profile mistakes, and
one here against St Johnstone in particular, wasn't it, Stevie May?
And without wanting to wish ill on him, you don't want to be having to do too much, and what he is doing, you want him just to get a feel for it, to try and build his confidence.
McGrath back to Baich in the Hibs box, left-hand side, leaves it for McGrath. Turning it back to McMahon, left foot bends the cross ball in, headed clear there by Chabraya. McCurdy helps it on its way, controlled well by Nisbet. He got those 2 goals against United at Easter Road earlier in the season. He plays it forward to Kukarevich, who's in possession now, holding off McMahon. He's the big Ukrainian. He rolls it back to Newell, right of the centre circle, shifts it to the left of it for Chabraya. Chabraya's got Ewan to the left. He's tried to chip it forward towards Eli Ewan, but it's an ambitious ball, and it goes behind for the goal kick. And again, it's another chorus of boos from the Hibs supporters.
Again, it's another passage of play like Tomo was talking about half-time. It's just poor. They're getting up to that final third. The ball that Chabraya's trying to play there is an almost impossible ball. He's trying to chip it over the fullback's head into 5-6 yards of space before the ball's going to run out for a by kick.
Yeah. Lack of confidence.
Flick on there by Fletcher. Niskanen will give chase. Chabraya will nod it back to David Marshall, who's to come to the left-hand side of his goal to hold on to it. And short ball there to Fish. McGrath charging it down, and Marshall boots it away just before Jamie McGrath was able to get onto it. Aina, well, he's all over Kukarevich. No free kick, says David Monroe.
Surely a free kick.
Should have been.
Fletcher out to Niskanen on this right-hand side, level with the 18-yard line of Hibs. Left foot bends the cross ball in, and it's left by both Fish and Cadden as it goes behind for the goal kick to Hibernian, and it stays 1-0 to Dundee United, who go to in-form Motherwell next Saturday. They're done without that fixture, given the way they're going under Stuart Kettlewell. And then they host out of sorts Livingston in the final match before the split. Hibernian, of course, have the derby next week at home before they go to St Johnstone in the final game before the split. I know the SPFL are keen to get the fixtures out should the top 6 and bottom 6 positions all be sorted before the end of those final pre-split matches. We'll just wait and see how that goes. As Jago is back to his goalkeeper, Marshall. Out to this near side, Egan Riley, but there was a foul by Fletcher on Jago. But yeah, I mean, Hibs were in comfortable possession. Why stop it and bring it back
just
for the free kick?
Go.
I don't know. Where did I go from that?
I thought he was going to break out into some tune there.
That was a good film, that.
Hibs in possession here. Cadden right of the centre circle, back to Egan Riley. No laughing matter for Hibs right now. 19 into the second half. They trail Dundee United by a goal to nil, having lost 1-0 here earlier in the season. Ewan waited an age, and McGrath was able to win it back for United. And it's back with Sybil just outside the centre circle. And he fires it out to Aziz Baich on that left, down the line for Harks, who's onside here. Well on, Egan Riley was playing him on at least. It's Harks, low ball into the box, cleared by Egan Riley on the 6-yard line. Breaks McMahon's way. He's got some space to work in, he shoots as well, and he's forced David Marshall into the save. Comfortable save, right enough, down to his left. As Marshall slips as he boots it forward, looking for McCarty, can only find the chest of Mulgrew. The Hibs fans are not happy at all.
I am astonished that Harry McCurdy is still on the park. The ball goes up to him there in terms of David Marshall's trying to play him. And by the way, it's not the worst, attempt from David Marshall. Charlie McGrew cuts it out. The reaction from McCurdy to get back in is non-existent.
Long ball for Nisbet, keeps it in play, down by the corner flag as he tries to force the issue here, back up the line, but he too passes it straight to a tangerine shirt in the shape of Ian Harkes this time, who wins the throw-in off Chebraya. Midway inside his own half on this near side. Dundee United 1, Hibs 0. As we go into the final, almost 24 minutes now. There's still time for Hibs to sort this out. But they just don't seem to have much of a threat at all. I mean, they're popping the ball around when they've got possession. In fact, they were making better use of the ball in the first half than they are in the second. More often than not, 50% of the time just about it's been put out for throw-ins. As Fish comes forward, walking pace, rolls it to Jego. Out to that right-hand touchline. Long from Cadden. Kukarevich heads it down. McCurdy might be in here. He's gone down. Two around, and David Monroe has a look at it. And he's given a goal kick.
It's not a penalty, it's a brilliant challenge.
No, but I think it's McMahon that's coming in behind. Aina gets the challenge, but it's just whether McMahon falls into the back of McCurdy. Because Aina wins the ball, but whether McMahon falls into the back of McCurdy.
Yeah, they'll be looking at it anyway.
Well, Andrew Dallas is the video assistant for this game, and obviously they check everything. And it's gone behind for the...
Surely it should be a corner then.
Yeah, corner rather than the goal kick.
Well, I don't know
whether
not
a penalty.
I don't know whether when Aina challenges, whether it flicks off McCurdy and goes behind for the bye kick.
Well, there's no official game-stopping review taking place as the long ball comes off the head of Fletcher and out of play for a throw-in on this near side for Hibs. Apparently it didn't take a flick, so
it should have been a corner.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't look like that. I just assumed it must have flicked off.
Yeah, you're right to assume that, given it was a goal kick. Here's Baich for United. Left foot cross ball comes in. Fletcher attacks it. Marshall claims it though. Good brave goalkeeping, David Marshall. Stephen Fletcher, I think he's ended up injuring David Marshall. Of course, it was Fletcher's challenge that resulted in Craig Gordon's leg break.
He'll just be winded. He's okay. He's up.
Yeah, he's fine.
I think Stephen Fletcher had kind of lost control in the air and couldn't stop himself, obviously, as he challenged David Marshall. Took one in the ribs. He'll be okay.
Hibs have actually only lost one of their last 5 on the road, and that was at Celtic Park, where nobody else is winning other than the home team in the league. Undefeated 5 away games. They've only won 4 of their last 11 at Easter Road. That's a big problem. Long ball comes off the head of Mulgrew. Diving headed away by Aina as it went back towards his own box. McGrath gets the break of the ball off Jego, and it's Sibbald in possession. The pressure from Kukarevich out to the left for Baich. Taking on Cadden as is Baich. Low ball back. Fletcher rifled over the bar by Niskanen. Round about the penalty spots, another big opportunity for Dundee United to potentially put this game to bed and pick up a priceless 3 points. They're still in the melting pot though. Dundee United 1, Hibs 0.
Should be out of sight. They should. Stephen Fletcher's chance was a better one than that, but that still goes down as a very, very good chance. Keep the ball down.
I don't know whether that's a better chance. The two of them are gilt-edged. The only thing that puts that slightly more difficult category is that Fletcher's about a foot or 2 in front of him, and it looks as if he's maybe going to get
him off a bit. Still,
possibly.
Up the other end, Chebraya with the ball. Big chance! Goal! Kukarevich! Hibs are level! The United defence was statuesque. Brilliant ball into the box, and the big Ukrainian has just thumped that in off the underside of the crossbar to bring Hibs back on level terms and plunge a dagger into Dundee United's survival hopes. Dundee United 1, Hibernian 1, out of nowhere.
Well, that's how you finish. That's a really good finish for Kukarevich. And I tell you, anytime I've watched him, he's looked effective to me, but that pretty much sums up where Dundee United are at the moment. fragile at the top end of the park, showing nerves and not being able to make it 2-0. And you know when it's 1-0, you are always running the risk. Credit to Hibs, they've been able to get their way back into it here. Poor defending. I think it's Charlie Mulgrew that misreads the cross.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of seconds after the Niskanen chance, and I looked down at Jim Goodwin, and he can't believe in the space of 20 seconds that they've gone up the other end of the pitch. Poor defending, the finish emphatic. What a finish it was from him.
Fabulous goal, it really was. It's good delivery again from the left-hand side. That's where the United goal came from. But it's a thunderous finish, you would have to say, from Kukarevich. And United trying to win it back with McGrath, but it's cleared by Will Fish. And now the Hibs fans all of a sudden right behind their team, one apiece at Tannadice. This game's on a knife edge, but Mikola Kukarevich, the 21-year-old, with a fabulous finish. Is this match all square? Here's Yuan on the turn. And these are important moments for Dundee United, because given their position, given it's 11 games without a win in the Premiership, this soft centre could come to the fore here, and Hibs could well smell victory.
Well, you would think they've got to be. They've got to be. You know, it's, as you said there, though, the game is on the knife edge, because here's Dundee United going up the other end. You wouldn't put it past them being able to score again as well.
McGrath out to Bates, he's in the box, taking on Cadden, low ball across, and it's cleared really importantly by Egan Riley, with Fletcher waiting for a tap in at the back post.
Keep feeding them, keep feeding. It's the wide areas that where the trouble is coming from.
There's a long ball into the box, they'll come right through to Marshall. Aziz Bates could be the difference for Dundee United. Every time he's on the ball, and he's playing that little bit further up the pitch today, he looks dangerous. But the winner against Hibs last time they were here, and Hibs showing resolve. Twice came from behind in the meeting at Easter Road that finished 2-2, including Kevin Nisbet's injury time equaliser that salvaged a point. 1-1 it is here. And there's 18 to play. Long ball for Kukarevich, and Birigiti comes to the edge of his box to claim. Hugely important game for both these clubs.
Look at the space.
It's so open right now. It's so end to end.
McGrath out to Bates, level with the edge of the D, level with 18, now he's level with the penalty spot, looks up, dinks the ball in, Marshall holds on, Bates is wildly claiming for handball and for a penalty which hasn't been awarded by David Munro. It stays Dundee United 1, Hibs 1.
I mean, that's crazy. That was in Birigiti's arms. He takes an age, he throws the ball out to the halfway line where McGrath has got acres of space. He's able to stride forward, pass it to BH, who's 1v1 against Cadden, who for the last 10 minutes he's got the better of and throwing balls into the box. From his perspective, they've just got themselves back into the game. That is far too easy.
Play has been stopped again for another bit of medical treatment for David Marshall.
Yeah, he must be struggling. I mean, it was a fairly hefty knock he took from Stephen Fletcher. He's just pointing at his knee, is he? I thought it would
He's
be
gone
more.
down. Let's go to Brian McLaughlin, who can certainly bring us news of 2 outfield Hibs changes.
Yeah, it looks like Lewis Stevenson and Ewan Henderson are certainly the players coming on. They'll be replacing Marian Cabrera and Harry McCurdy. Now, that earlier challenge by Stephen Fletcher on David Marshall, he did fall just a little bit awkwardly onto his knee, just the way he landed, but they're just testing it just now to see if he'll be able to continue, and it looks like he will be at the moment. But yeah, those 2 outfield changes certainly happening. Cabrera and McCurdy off, with Stevenson and Henderson coming on.
Well, the sub-goalie for Hibs today is young Murray Johnson, who has just recently signed a long-term deal with the club. And David Marshall's going to give it a go anyway. But it won't surprise the 2 guys to my right. Harry McCurdy's going to be hooked in just a moment. 16 to play of the 90. 1-1. Point. Not really enough for United, to be honest. I mean, it takes them back to within 4 of Ross County. They need wins, though. If they can get a win today and manage to win this match, then get that confidence going into the last 2 games before the split. As Henderson replaces McCurdy and Stevenson comes on for Chebraya. Lee Johnson described Paul Hanlon as the daddy earlier on. Leo Stevenson might lay claim to that as well if given the number of appearances he too has racked up for the club for such a long period of time. Mikey, you were a teammate of his back in those days, and he was a midfield general. I know he's been back in midfield in recent times as well, but still going and still plenty to offer this Hibs team. David Marshall prepares to launch this one forward with the right peg just outside his box. Aina with a header forward onto the chest of Sibbald, who turns it out to Niskanen on this near side. Driving down the right hand side, Yuan trying to stay with him. Niskanen holding Yuan. That'll be a free kick to Hibs surely. No, it's gone out for a throw in.
There's great work from Yuan, and that's what I was saying before. He's actually he's willing to run at times. He got back, did some great defensive work there and stopping Niskanen.
It's Niskanen again, and the referee's going to stop play for an injury to Kevin Nisbet. This time it's another head knock. There's been a few of them this afternoon. It's been such a stop-start match. Highlights of it, incidentally, 7:15, BBC Scotland channel, repeated later on BBC One. And you'll get a roundup of all yesterday's action as well. As I think the fourth official, Stephen McLean, is having to try and calm Lee Sharp and Jim Goodwin down just now. But really, temper's frayed. The stakes are so high. And this is a big 13.5 plus injury time to play in both these clubs' seasons. A draw, it's a better result for Hibs, given they come from behind and given they're not in the kind of precarious position Dundee United are. With both teams, I want to win this, so they're both going to have to go for it, Tomo.
Yeah, I mean, the second half's been end to end. It's really opened up. Mikey talking about the amount of space as Hibs try and get back in the match.
Big switch of play. Beich has been found. He's up against Cadden on the far side. Into the box goes Aziz Beich, laying it back to McGrath. He's under-hit the pass though, and Hibs are able to get it away. Nisbet, who's back on the pitch, he's fine. Flicks it brilliantly to Yuan. Yuan driving down the left. Stevenson is trying his utmost to get there on the overlap. He is going to get there. First time left foot cross comes in and McGrath clears. And as far as Joe Newell. Newell then with the angled left foot ball to the right hand side of the box, looking for Cadden, who couldn't quite keep it in play, and that's going to be a Dundee United goal kick, and it will stay one apiece at Tannadice.
That's the first time Beich, and I don't know why, he cut inside there. Just get to the byline. He's literally in the last 10 minutes had what, 4 or 5 1v1s. Every time dropped the shoulder, got the byline and playing the ball across. On that occasion, he just, okay, it got a little bit static, but still simplify it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Get to the byline. Get the ball in behind. It's causing Hibs all sorts of problems.
Nisbet laying it back to Jeggo, right hand side of the centre circle, rolls it to the left for Yuan. Up against Kieran Freeman and Niskanen. He turns it out to Stevenson on this near side. Stevenson a bit level with the edge of the centre circle. Main stand side is rolling it infield to Yuan. Works the 1-2 back to Stevenson. Forward to Kukarevich. Now with Yuan. Yuan on the turn. Rolls it to the right of the centre circle. Now it's Fish turning it out towards Cadden. There's a misunderstanding between the two of them though. And Fish puts it straight into touch for a throw into United level with their own penalty spot over on the Fox stand side. But it could be some last 10 minutes here in this one. And both teams needing the victory. Hibs looking to wound hearts further next week in that derby match. It's an early kick-off. Clubs requested that. As Sibbald collects and clears, Beich gives chase. Important header on there by Fish as it comes back to Egan Riley from Newell. He goes back to his goalkeeper. Marshall plays it short. Beich is swarming around trying to win it back. That's another mistake. This time Egan Riley straight to Niskanen. How important will that be? Niskanen's pass is dreadful. Awful. Puts it straight to Fish. He's able to clear. That kind of unforced error needs to be punished. It wasn't, and here come Hibs with Cadden, but the referee in the stop play, much to the annoyance of the Hibs fans again. They were away in a counter there, but it's yet another head knock. This time it's been sustained by Jamie McGrath, and it stays Dundee United 1. Hibs 1 as we approach the final 10 minutes of this lively, if not spectacularly good encounter between these two. Apologies once again if you are offended by any of the language that is being picked up by the pitch side microphones here at Tannadice in this live football match. Dundee United 1, Hibs 1, 10 minutes to play, and 10 huge minutes in these two club seasons.
Yeah, McGrath's getting back to his feet. He was actually just caught in the back of the head with the ball as it was cleared from Hibernian, and they were breaking away. That's why the supporters down below us weren't happy, but head knock, got to stop the play.
How do you see these last 10 minutes, Mikey?
Nervous. I think you've already seen how the game's unfolded, and I don't see the last 10 minutes being any different. Edgy. And I'd imagine there's going to be chances for both sides. The game is truly on the knife edge here. You would not be surprised if any result was to happen from here on in.
Newell gets it forward, down goes Kukarevich, free kick Hibs, about 25 yards from goal. He's certainly had the desired impact as Kukarevich since he came on. Lee Johnson threw him on, he scored, and he's won his team a free kick in a very decent position here, just slightly right of centre in an attacking position.
Charlie McGrew again, should have been using a bit more of his experience, just got rolled by Kukarevich, gave the foul away.
What can Hibs make of this?
It's too easy though. You know, it's a free kick that gets played into the striker's feet. It's a straight ball, and he's 25 yards out from goals. You can't allow a straight pass like that to be played straight into the striker's feet. You've got to get somebody blocking that.
Nisbet Newell over it, Nisbet with a right, looks favourite, takes it right footed, what a free kick off the bar! Wonderful effort by Nisbet. United get away with it, it's come flush off the crossbar. Ewan with the cross ball in, headed clear by McGrath. Well, that's a serious let-off for relegation-haunted Dundee United as Aina wins a free kick. He's had an excellent game, and he's just taken the pressure right off his defenders. But Kevin Nisbet reliving that one there. He did just about everything right, just about an inch further down, an inch lower, and he's probably put Hibs in front. What an effort.
Some effort, Liam. A phenomenal free kick to get that power on it from the distance he was out as well. So unlucky to see it crash off the bar. Was it the bar or the post? Bar?
Round about the junction, wasn't it?
It's going right in the top corner, that's for sure.
Bidigiti with the long ball forward, flicked on by Fletcher, left-hand side of the penalty area. It's with Beich. Rolls it back to Harks. Now to Beich again. Dundee United had two opportunities to make it 2-0. Excellent opportunities, failed to take either of them. We're pegged back at 1-1 now. It's Freeman, picks up wide on the right. This cross though is right through to David Marshall, who will hold on. United 1, Hibs 1, as Marshall bowls it out to Cadden over on that far side. First time right-footed forward, good ball down to Nisbet. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he has. Brilliantly done by Nisbet. Moves infield, looking for a teammate. He's away from Sibbald. Nisbet still waits to pass. Eventually he does, but it's forced Stevenson back the way on this near side. Stevenson now looks at the box, finds Ewan at the left angle of it. Ewan dancing into the area, up against Aina, and then he gets all tangled up and loses the ball, and United come away with Niskanen, and now it's Harks pushing it out to Freeman. An awful touch, and that goes out for a Hibs throw-in. Jim Goodwin looks like a figure of frustration down there. He really does, because they had opportunities. I mean, if Fletcher and Niskanen take them, it's 3-0, it's game over, and it's 3 crucial points. As it stands, it'll be 1 point. But Hibs, with Nisbet thundering that effort off the crossbar from the free kick, coming so close to making sure United pick up 0 points, and that's still a possibility as Newell is pushed to the ground, and it will be a free kick to Hibernian, just about level with the edge of the centre circle in United territory, with 6 of the 90 to play at 1-1.
I think Newell just bought that one. I think he threw himself to the ground. You see it so often. Referees always give the free kick for it. And misjudged the flight of the ball, felt the pressure on his back and threw himself to the ground, but a chance for Hibs to put the ball into the box.
Ewan Henderson is over it, right-footed. Again, the line of players in the 18-yard line as it comes in. Hibs win the header at the back end of the box as it's nodded down, but it's cleared. It was Will Fish who won it. But the offside flag, I think, went up there, and that'll be a free kick to Dundee United. Is there to be a winner in this game? There are 2 points in the offing for one of these teams, and that could be the difference. For Hibs, it could be the difference between European football not getting it. Of course, they were sitting 4th at this point last season, and they had 3 points fewer than they have this campaign, which perhaps just confirms the paucity of the quality in the league last season. With the top two, and Hearts could lay claim to that as well. And Dundee United and Motherwell both securing European football by 4th and 5th place finishes last season. As Yuan knocks it infield to Nisbet. Now back to Yuan, he's in! He puts it wide, what a chance! He's just on the edge of the box, but there was no one around him. He had the whole goal to shoot at. He hits it low, looking for the bottom left, but he puts it the wrong side of the post, and it stays. Dundee United 1, Hibs 1, but it's Hibs suddenly who have had the opportunities to win this game.
Well, great bit of quality. The link-up play, Yuan, Nisbet, and then it's on a plate for him. Really is perfect in the middle of the goals, edge of the box, and he misses the target.
It's kind of unforgivable, isn't it?
It's his last act of the game as well.
Yeah, let's go to Brian McLaughlin. Hibs change.
Yeah, that was his last impact on the game. Wasn't a good one from Hibs' point of view. He's been replaced by Jaya Tavares, Hibs' final substitute of the day. 4 minutes left here, Liam.
Portuguese comes on. He was in the Benfica B team alongside Duke of Aberdeen last season. He comes on looking to make an impact, the Hibs number 10. Ian Harkes has it and just knocks it out to Bates over on that far side. The clock is ticking down though. 3.5 in the 90 left, one apiece. Kukarevich winning it off McMahon. Sibbald goes back to Mulgrew. And Dundee United have had 2 glaring opportunities. Hibs, that Nisbet one so early in the piece, and then he hits the bar or the post with a free kick, and then just Ellie Ewan's miss a moment ago as Bates takes on Cadden. Left foot cross comes in, it's too high for Fletcher. Freeman can't control, and now Tavares will come away with it down this left-hand side. Harkes blasted off him and out for a Dundee United throw-in, and Jim Goodwin's going to throw the dice again, Brian.
Yeah, Ian Harkes is going to be replaced. The player coming on is number 20, Sadat Happy Anaku.
It's going to be a throw into United on this near side then. Kieran Freeman's going to take once this change is made. Jim Goodwin with his arm around Sadat. He's not got much time to make an impact. If a Dundee United player were to score the winning goal in this one, it could prove to be a real turning point. This club season, draw is not really enough, because they're going to end up in more arrears come the end of this weekend's games than they were before they kicked off, given Ross County's brilliant success at St Johnstone yesterday. And Saints, another team who have seen the wheels come off recently. Freeman to take the throw on this near side. Bowls it towards Niskanen. He heads it into the penalty area. Fletcher's gone down! Penalty! Dundee United have a penalty! It's the experience of Stephen Fletcher. He goaded Will Fish into the challenge, and he's won his team a penalty with just 2 minutes of the 90 to play at Tannadice, and the score's at 1-1.
Well, I mean, Will Fish is just so slow to react. The flick on comes in. Stephen Fletcher.
He was quick to react,
Fletcher, he was on his toes, yeah. He hits there just ahead of Will Fish. Clear penalty. The referee did not hesitate. Jamie McGrath doesn't often miss from the penalty spot, Liam.
No, he does not.
He's cursed.
They've scored all 4 league penalties this season. McGrath's converted 2 of them. Fletcher converted the other 2.
It's not been as big as this one. This is massive
huge
for Dundee United. And he's been cursed by Thompson as well.
In Dundee United season, this could be a pivotal kick of the ball. And Jamie McGrath right-footed against Marshall. McGrath rolls it home! Bottom right corner! And there's a burst of tangerine and black in the stands as the United supporters celebrate. The coolest man inside Tannadice was Jamie McGrath. Cool as you like when the temperature was at its hottest. And McGrath converts from the spot to score one of the biggest goals in Dundee United's season potentially. It is Dundee United 2, Hibernian 1, as we head towards the end of the 90 minutes.
Well, he's not been cursed. It's a great penalty.
How good was it?
He's a really good penalty kick taker. So composed, and he just waits for the goalkeeper to move and just passes it calmly and nonchalantly into the other corner. Massive for Dundee United, it really is.
I'm just wondering whether or not Goody's going to think about making another sub now. He brought Sadat on because he wanted to try and get that goal. There's still going to be a good 5 minutes left, probably.
6 minutes. 6 minutes added. Hibs aren't out of this yet. Well, they've gone behind again for the second time. United 6 minutes away from their first victory in the Premiership since the 2nd of January. 11 league games without a victory. Jim Goodwin yet to pick up a victory as United boss. He's close to it now against the team that got him the sack at Aberdeen. But here's Henderson, goes for goal, and Virigiti flops down and holds on. Henderson didn't catch it as well as he would have liked, and it stays 2-1 to United.
He absolutely had to hold on to that as well, Virigiti. It was an awkward one, bounced just in front of him. Nisbet was hovering, waiting for any type of spill, but he held on to it.
You know, Malky Mackay and his players will be shaking their heads, having done that terrific job of picking up the 3 points down the road in Perth yesterday, down the road from here. United could be about to claw them back less than 24 hours later. Stephen Fletcher's gone down, and this will just add to the annoyance for the Hibs supporters who used to worship him. He is down there.
He's holding his groin. They certainly could not do without Stephen Fletcher.
They can't, I mean, because they don't have any other strikers. Not really.
He's such an important player. He's been brilliant today in terms of his flick-ons, his link-up play, his contribution for both goals. All right, he had that miss, but I'm hoping it's maybe just a wee touch of cramp or something for him.
Like you said, it's such a big role in the 2 goals for United today. Massive. Scoring the first and then winning the penalty at the opposite ends of the game. Let's go to Brian for that United change.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a change. It's going to be Ryan Edwards coming on. I can't imagine that Ryan Edwards has ever played as a striker before. Stephen Fletcher, he's up on his feet now. The 4th official, Steve McLean, the board is going up, and yes, it is number 12, Ryan Edwards, replacing number 9, Ryan Edwards, but no, there's no chance of Edwards going up front.
So Edwards has come on for Edwards. No, he's going a back 3, trying to see it out.
Long ball from Egan Riley then. What have Hibs got left? They've had their chances as well. Long ball, United clearing, Sadat chasing. Egan Riley winning it though. 2.5 of the 6 minutes of stoppage time have come and gone. 2-1 to Dundee United. Long ball flicked on by Henderson. There's Fish. He's trying to make amends, but he can't find Cadden out wide, and that's going to be a throw into United. And suddenly Hibs are staring for the second time this season at 4 successive defeats. And ahead of that derby next week, and my goodness me, how much pressure is going to be on that game at Easter Road next weekend?
A lot.
Yeah.
Both sides going in terrible form if this ends up a loss for Hibs as well.
Neil's header infield for McGrath. Hibs still have time though. Here's Nisbet, the edge of the penalty area. He scored in injury time the last time they met, with his shot this time side-footed, goes well past the left-hand post, and it stays United 2, Hibs 1, with half of the injury time that was added complete. 3 to go, less than that now. The United supporters sense victory. It's been a tough time, tough ride for them recently.
A long time coming for them, absolutely, but a massive 3 points if they hold on here. Changes the landscape a lot.
Well, I suppose what it does, you know, it doesn't change the gap between they and County when this weekend started, but it pulls Kilmarnock back a bit just closer to the other two, doesn't it?
Just to get the win, Liam, to get that off your back, the boost it will give the players.
Long ball, Nisbet giving chase with Virigiti, he commits himself, Nisbet goes down and has a lingering look at David Monroe, the referee, before Scott McMahon accuses him of cheating, I assume. Then the two have a shove at each other. Nisbet talking to David Monroe. Now, if that is a foul, these days the VAR will certainly be looking at it. No sign of an official review just now. Ball is still in play, of course.
It wasn't a foul.
No, goes down far too easily.
Virigiti with a long ball. Brian's had a chance to look at a replay and says nothing in it, as Diego hits it up high into the air, drops down, comes off the head of Aina. And now to play for a Hibs throw-in on the near side. United getting ever closer to that long-awaited victory. Here is Egan Riley for Hibernian inside his own half. Long ball forward, headed clear by Mulgrew. Now it's Sybil. Comes away with it and finds Sadat Anaku on that left-hand side. Does he go for the corner flag? Surely he goes for the corner flag here, heading into the final minute of injury time. He checks his run up against Egan Riley, rolls it back to BH, level with the 18, met by Egan Riley on the far side, as is BH holding off the Hibs defender, losing it, and Cadden coming away with it. But in the last minute of the 6 that were added, 2-1 to Dundee United. Long ball comes off Nisbet, but only for Aina, who gives it to Mulgrew, who, panic-stricken on his way to ground, is to lash it clear. He did not want that pass from Aina.
Well, he didn't want it rolled at him.
At 1 mile an hour, no.
Yeah.
Long ball from Marshall, flicked on by Henderson. Nisbet will give chase, it's inside the box. Mulgrew hooks it half away, taken down by Fish, right hand side, into the side net it goes. He's missed the chance. That might be Hibs' last chance of the game. And the Dundee United supporters had their hearts in their mouths there. It stays United 2, Hibs 1. The Hibs players, most of them down there, had their head in their hands at some point in the wake of that.
You can see why Charlie Mulgrew's having a word with Mark Brigitte. For me, the keeper's got to come
100%.
But I don't know why Charlie Mulgrew doesn't just head it back to him then. Instead, he's trying to hook it back over his own head to the edge of the box.
I make that time up. I make that the 6 minutes of injury time have come and gone. Goal kick United, Birigiti to take. Long with the right foot. The referee doesn't have the whistle to his lips at the moment. Flicked on by Niskanen and out for a throw, and he's having a look at his watch and his left wrist there. Here's David Munro. Dundee United have only won 5 times in the Premiership this season. They haven't won in over 3 months in the Premiership. They are seconds away now, though, as United clears. Sadat will pick it up on that left-hand side. We're well into a 7th minute of stoppage time. Sadat gives it away. Straight to Egan Riley, goes back to the goalkeeper. Short ball to Stevenson. Time added on in stoppage time because of the substitution that saw Ryan Edwards come on for Fletcher. That's where this extra time's come from. Niskanen knocks it forward. Hibs can't get the ball forward, and that's it all over. Jim Goodwin punches fresh air in celebration. His first win as United manager. But the malaise here went on long before he arrived. January the 2nd, when they beat St Johnstone, was their last victory in the league. The 2nd of January, and it's taken them until the 9th of April to pick up 3 points in one game. It's a massive victory for them. Hibernian lose for the 4th successive game. It's the 2nd time that's happened to them this season. A real blow for them ahead of the derby against Hearts next week in their quest to finish 3rd. They might just settle for Europe now. We shall see what transpires when the two meet in the capital, meet in Leith next weekend. United led through Stephen Fletcher's wonderful header, that coming after Kevin Nisbet missed a huge opportunity inside the opening couple of minutes. He'll be reliving that one tonight. Hibs level through the substitute Kukarevich though. Fabulous ball in for him. He dumped it off the underside of the post into the net to make it 1-1, and actually Hibs looked the better team at that point after Fletcher and Niskanen had missed opportunities to make it 2-0. But Jamie McGrath with the penalty as the game began to head towards 90 minutes. Fletcher won it off Fish in the box, and McGrath sent the keeper the wrong way, rolling it into the bottom right corner. With the most important goal of Dundee United's season so far. Jim Goodwin's leading the celebrations out there. Nisbet hit the crossbar with a free kick, and then late on Will Fish smashed into the side netting. But this is a seismic victory for the tangerine and black half of the city of Discovery. Make no mistake, they're back to within 2 points of Ross County at the foot of the table, where they remain, but they could ill afford to drop any this weekend given what the Staggies did in Perth, and they've closed the gap with Kilmarnock down to 3 points as well. A thoroughly satisfying day for Jim Goodwin and for these Dundee United supporters. The crisis is growing for both Edinburgh clubs though, as Hibs lose again. It finishes here at Tannadice with a dramatic conclusion. Dundee United 2, Hibernian 1.